Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It is Monday, September the 15th, 2025. I am your host, Hung Lu. I am with Cash Property. Okay, hopefully all of that went through on Facebook because I know I just logged in. So I am super excited to be sharing a couple of things with you guys today, especially around if you're paying rent, how you can actually make money on your rent. And if you've got a couple of utility bills, like for me, I've got a bunch of utility bills. If you've got utility bills, how you can just make your regular payments and make money from paying your bills. Okay. So I love getting paid for doing something that I would normally do anyways without that much more effort and time. So before I get into that, let me share a couple of events that are happening. One is happening tomorrow. Okay, and let me see here. So this is the Wealth Development Network. We are doing a live session tomorrow. So if you are local to Vancouver, I would recommend that you come check out ways to make your money work way better, way easier, way faster for you. Okay, so what you're going to see on the screen here, I'm going to screen share. You should be seeing the event that is happening tomorrow. Yeah, so it's the Wealth Development Network. This is a way to learn how to make your money work for you. Okay, that is happening tomorrow. The other thing as well that I love doing is the monthly mastermind. We've got a monthly mastermind happening on the third Friday of every month. So the next one that is happening is this Friday. So if you want to be in on Zoom out of your home. And if you want a safe and protective area to learn about real estate, talk about some of the challenges that you're having, this is the place to do it. It is a small, intimate group, and I teach a longer topic about something within real estate. And we then network and we talk about how to get over some of the challenges that you are facing in real estate. Okay, so let's get into the topic today on the Money Matters episode, which is how to get paid for paying rent and paying your bills. Okay, and I wish I'd known this, or I wish this service had been around when I started paying bills. Okay, so I've been paying bills since I was 16, and this would definitely have been one of those amazing things that if somebody said, "Hey, Hong, pay your rent on time and pay your utility bills," this is a great way for you to make some extra bit of cash. Okay, so let me bring up the Excel sheet and we will walk through what this is. Okay, so there's a program out there, and I'm probably not going to pronounce this right. It's called Chexy. Okay, it makes me think of the cereal company, the one with the tiger, I think it is. Okay, so it's a platform called Chexy, and this is stuff that you cannot pay on a credit card. So if you're already paying stuff on your credit card, then this isn't going to work. But rents, property taxes, some utility bills, there are things that you currently are paying for with cash that if you utilized a credit card on it to pay for it, you could be making some extra cash. Okay, so we're going to walk through what this program is and how that translates into actual money for you. Okay, so on your screen, you'll see an Excel sheet that I put together. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's a platform out there. This is how you spell it. I just recently found out about it, which is why I'm sharing it with you. And my plan is to check this out for the next month or two. And then if it works, really send it all to my tenants who are paying me rent. Because I'm just like, wow, if this actually works, it actually may make sense to do this. Okay, now before you go and implement it, of course, run your numbers, make sure it works for you because it's not a free service. Like there is fees associated with it. So the fee is, okay, so here I've got a black box. Okay, and basically what it is that you pay your rent in cash, or you write a check, or you do an e-transfer. However you pay your rent, it doesn't matter. The idea is that you pay a small fee to be able to use this strategy, this platform, the Chexy platform. You pay a small fee. The fee right now is 1.75%. Okay. The idea is that you use a credit card that gives you cash back on your bills. So now the one premise is that you do need to have this credit card that pays you some cash back. Based on my numbers, it needs to be a minimum of 2%. Anything less than 2%, this idea doesn't work. But there are credit cards out there that will give you a 4% cash back on your rent and bill payments. Okay, this is the one that you need to target. So the first thing is that it has to be a credit card that you have with your limit higher than whatever bills you're paying, and it has to be around the 4%. Okay, so you need to do your own research on which credit cards there are on that. Okay, but I've actually, because I deep dived into this, I was like, okay, what credit cards do I have? What credit cards are out in the market that has this 4%? And so I put together a bit of a small table because I'm like, how many credit cards are out there that actually do this? There's actually only two that I would recommend, that I would say, hey, you know what, this is worth looking at. The first one is the Scotia Momentum Infinite Card. So I don't get a referral or any payments from Scotia or from Chexy on doing this. So just double check on your own to make sure that it works for you. But this Scotia Momentum Card gives you the 4% on groceries and reoccurring bills. Okay, and the CIBC dividend one also gives you 4% on certain things, and including yeah, see, so the Scotia one is better because this reoccurring bills is what we also want. So whereas the CIBC one only does it on, it doesn't do it on the reoccurring bills. Okay, so we want the 4% cash back on reoccurring bills, and rent and utilities, property taxes, car insurance, those are reoccurring bills. Okay, so let's run the example here on just the rent of $2,000. Okay, and you can run this on any of the bills. I'm going to show an example with my real estate on how that affects me, and then what it looks like in terms of, you know, if it's more than just the rent. Okay, so let's just get the initial idea here across first. So the rent is $2,000, let's just say. The transaction fee from Chexy is 1.75. So there's a fee that I have to pay of $35 to Chexy. Okay, so it's sort of like not worth it if you're like, well, wait a minute, why am I paying to pay rent? Okay, if that's the thought process, then it just doesn't work. Okay, here's where the number changes. If you get a 4% cash back, okay, that means on this $2,000 bill that I'm paying, I'm going to make $80 on this bill. Okay, that means I'm going to get back $80. Okay, so the way the math works is you just take your 2,000 times the 4%. Okay, that's how I get the $80. The delta between what I make, the $80, minus the $35, I get $45 back a month. So that's like saying, hey, I'm going to pay my rent of 2,000, and in doing that good habit of paying my rent on time, I'm going to make $45. Okay, hands down, to me, that totally makes sense, because it's like I have to pay my rent anyway. So why not get paid for paying my rent? Okay, so for the year, that's an equivalent of $540. So you take your $45 times your 12, and that will give you the $540. So this 540 will depend on how much rent you're paying and how much your cashback credit card is. Anything less than the 4%, I would say it's not really worth doing. So it sort of needs to be around that 4%. Okay, so the equivalent discount on using this strategy is 2% per month. It's the same math if it's per year. Okay, so you're saving 2.25%. So really, it's just the difference of the 4% and the 1.75. Okay, that took me a bit of calculation because it didn't intuitively jump out at me that it would just be the difference. So the way I had actually calculated was saying, okay, well, I'm going to get $45 back, and I'm going to divide it by the $2,000 that I have to pay out. Okay, so or you could just say, well, the 4% minus the 1.75. The math both works out the same way. Okay, and it doesn't matter if it's per year or per month, it's the same the same type of savings. Okay, so now I expanded that because I'm like, well, hold on a second. It's not just the rents, it's all of these other things that I have to pay every single month or every single quarter or every single year. So how does that translate into profits for me? Okay. So what I did was I said here, my taxes. Okay. Like I pay a lot of property taxes because the properties that I have to pay property taxes on them. So I've got $4,000 divided by 12 because each of the properties I'm paying about $4,000. And at this point, I'm just, running rough numbers here just to find out, hey, is it really worth it for me to go and get this credit card that pays me 4% cash back? And is it worth my time? Like, am I walking over dollars to pick up pennies here? Right. To me, that's one of the questions that I always ask. Oh my God. Okay. I can't believe this. Let me just stop for a second here. I want to do a big shout out. I went to a networking event this weekend and I learned a new idea around just being present and enjoying life. So I'm going to just stop my share here and I'm going to jump back into it. But I want to do a big shout out to Danielle Lemon and I am still sharing here. Let me unshare. Okay. Um, I attended a broadcasting launch with Lydia. Okay, and let me see if I can quickly find their broadcast. Okay, it is called Flirting with Life. And I love the here we go. Okay, I found it. So I want to do a big shout out to Lydia because here's the thing. Okay, so on the website, you'll see the Flirting with Life. I'm on a new journey to try and, be more abundant, live present and all that happiness stuff. Okay, and I was invited to their Flirting with Life broadcast launch. I met Lydia, reconnected with Lisa and Danielle, and so big shout out to all the ladies there. And it was so amazing to be around like-minded individuals that want to be more present in life and really just enjoy every single minute. Okay, so I want to do a big shout out to Lydia. If you are looking to tap into positive energy and be more present with your life, this is one of the broadcasts to listen to. Okay, so best of luck to you, Lydia. I hope this podcast reaches the audience level that you want. Okay, so that is my big shout out. Okay, so let me go back in here to the spreadsheet. Okay. All right, so unsharing. Okay, so, oh, I've lost my spreadsheet. Okay, so let me bring that up. Okay, so documents here. All right, let me go back to my share and let's figure out how to um, flirt with life a little bit more with the money. Because here's the thing, I am a big believer that if you've got money in the bank account, you can flirt a little bit more with life. Okay. Yeah, having money in the bank account helps to give you that breathing space to be able to flirt with other options and hobbies and interests if you want to. Okay, so let's jump back into this. So I wanted now to take a look at my situation and be like, okay, is it really worthwhile for me to actually go and apply for this credit card and then take the effort to make sure that this strategy would work for me? Okay, so I've got the property taxes in there. I've got it times four because I've got four properties that I'm thinking that I could do this on with the property taxes. So that's about $1,300 a month that I have to pay in property taxes, which is a lot of moolah. Okay, I took out the insurance. I've got 2,000. Oh, let me increase this to $2,000 in rent. The Enbridge bills. So I've got $50. I'm timesing it by three because there's three of these Enbridge bills that I'm thinking that I could apply this to. And then I've got my hydro bills. I've got three of them that I'm thinking that I could apply this to per month. Okay. So every single month, at a minimum, I'm doing about $3,700 in just random bills that I'm doing. my transaction fee on this one would be $66. And this is based on the 1.75 that Chexy would be charging me. Okay, so to do that, it is just my 3,700 times the 1.75. So this is the cost for me to do this strategy if I want to do it. I'm going to go and get a credit card that gives me a 4% cash back. Okay. Now, originally, when I ran this, I'm like, okay, if I could only find a credit card at 2%, does it still make sense? Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a bit, but I want to show you what it looks like at 4%. My cash back would be about 151. I would be making $85 per month, free money. This is money back in my pocket. Okay, so is it worth it for me to put my time and energy to get $85 a month back? At this point, I was like, not really, right? Like, this is a dinner a month, maybe, for two people. Is it really worth the time? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Now, if I had this at 2%, I'm just going to change that. Look at this. The free money in my pocket is it's less than $10 a month. At this point, it definitely is not worth it. Okay. But when I go to 4%, look at the huge jump from under $10 to about $85. When I saw that, I'm like, wow, like that's actually a bigger jump. So there are some credit cards that are doing like an initial promotion where if you sign up, you get like a 5% or a 10%. This is only temporary, right? It's only for 3 months, let's say. But look at this. At 10%, I'm saving $300 a month back in my pocket. It's not really a savings. It's more just getting this paid to me as a cash back. Okay. This now becomes worth it. Okay. But unfortunately, we're not going to get 10% every single month. It's really, an initial offer maybe for 3 months at the most. So really it's at 4%. So is it really worth it at 4%? That is a big question for me. So now the interesting thing was I said, okay, you know what? Are there other bills that I'm missing here? Right. And maybe some of these things are not all at 4%. Some of them are at 1 or 2%. Right. So when I was compiling this, you can see over here, I've got some notes on each of the credit cards that I looked at, what percentage they were going towards in terms of, is it reoccurring bills? Is it groceries? All others, is there a limit? Like this is the level of detail that I went to. Okay. Save yourself the time. If you just want this spreadsheet, just send me a note. I'm happy to send it to you. Okay. But of course, take it with that disclaimer that these benefits may change by the time you go to implement it. And so then you do need to double check to make sure that whatever institution that you're going to go to, that the annual fees are what they are and that the benefits are still valid. Okay, so I'm just going to throw that as a disclaimer out there, but I am happy to send this out to anybody who wants this spreadsheet so that you don't need to start from scratch and build all this out. Okay, so now I was actually interested saying, okay, if I went and got the Scotia Momentum Infinite Visa card, what does that look like for me in terms of all of the expenses that I have right now? Okay. And so I ran that and I'm like, okay, here's all my bills roughly. And I don't think I even finished this. Like I was just going through this mentally and I, a good exercise to do would be to pull up my Visa or pull up my account and just break it down by item. Okay, so this is my rough amount spent per month. This is the cash back that I would see on the Scotia Visa. Now this, as you can see, let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, some of them are at 1, some of them are at 4, some of them are 2, because I wanted to see in my particular case, what is my actual cash back? Okay, so then the calculation there is really just taking the amount that I spend per month and then what the cash back is that I'm doing. And now I'm actually running through this. I'm actually thinking, I wonder, how do they calculate that? Like, is it based on from the date that I take out that purchase, or is it for like the next 30 days or something? So I think I'm going to have to double check that a little bit. Okay. But simple math, I'm just going to say my $50, let's just say in this case for my cell phone times my 1%, because it is a reoccurring bill. And why is it only 1% on the Scotia one here? Oh, oh, look at this. Okay, so my cell phone may or may not be part of that 4%. If it's not part of that 4%, then it's going to be part of this 1% everything else other. Okay, so that is something that I would have to go and like maybe call Scotia and ask them, hey, is my cell phone part of the $50? Now looking at this, I'm sort of thinking it might be part of the 4%. Okay, but here's the thing, it doesn't matter, particularly for my cell phone, because I already pay my cell phone on my credit card. So in the end of the day, I would not use this platform or this strategy to pay my cell phone, which is why the transaction fee is 0 for the Chexy platform, because I wouldn't go and put this on there because it doesn't make sense for me to put my cell phone into the Chexy to pay 1.75% to only have to pay, yeah, to only get the 1 or 4%. Like at this point, I'm already getting whatever my credit card is giving me for my cash back. Okay, so okay, right. So that's what the other is on my notes. Okay, so the transaction fee is what I would be paying Chexy. Okay, so let me either, yeah, this is for the Chexy or to, yeah, so that is only to Chexy. Okay, and then the cash back is on the credit card. Okay, so the delta here is what I'm actually going to be making. So I did that for every single item that's listed here. Okay, and so based on my cumulative monthly payment of $11,000, okay, and the big one is from this insurance, life insurance policy here. Whew, I am paying $11,000 out every single month in just expenses. Based on the cashback option that I would get and using the Chexy, and not all of it I would be making a transaction fee on because some of it I'm already paying with my credit card, I would be making $254 a month. Okay. This now becomes free money in my pocket as a rebate back for making my bill payments on time. Okay, is it worth doing it for $250? At this point, I would say, yeah. You know why? Because once I have it set up, it's automatically going to be paid using my credit card already or going through the Chexy platform. To me, it would be worth getting $250 a month back in my pocket every single month for doing this strategy. Okay, now let me see what I did here. Oh, so at this point, I was going into the rewards points because I'm like, well, wait a minute, how does it work if it's not a cashback, but points, right? So for traveling or for other things. And so I was looking at this RBC Rewards Plus. And I would say if you, for me, it just did not make sense to do this. Okay. So this is an alternative to the Chexy saying, hey, you know what? If I travel a lot, does it make sense now to put my points in through the Chexy program and then to get travel points as opposed to cash back? Okay. So a slightly modification to it. I would say based on this calculation, hands down, it does not make sense to do points. Even if you travel a lot, it doesn't make sense. It actually makes sense to get the cash back and then figure out how to buy your flights with cash. Okay. Because here's the thing. With every single point that I get to redeem towards my spend, let's just say I accumulated 4,300 points. That's only a discount of $25 to pay off bills, right? So in my points, I would have to get, 4,300. That is only actually worth $25. But in order to get 4,300 points, I had to spend $8,600. Okay. So yeah, I could spend $8,000 a month easily, right? As you can see on a couple minutes ago. But I would like that only translate to $25 based on this point system. Whereas if I went with the Chexy platform strategy and then utilize just the cashback, I get $250. Like it's a huge difference. Okay. So that is this strategy. Let me just go back here and show the notes. Oh, the rents. Okay, so there's a note here that I made here because I wanted to show at what point does it make sense to just do this strategy on just the rents? Okay, so I originally used a 2000 because a lot of my rental income in Toronto is around 2000. Like from what I see in the Vancouver market, minimum base is $2,000. Like you can't rent anything for less than 2000 in Toronto or Vancouver. So that's where the 2000 came from. Okay. So at what point does it make sense? Like how low could your rent be before considering something like this is what the idea was. Okay. So I basically got down to $450 a month. Okay. Based on $450, you would be making about $10 a month in the delta between what you have to pay to Chexy and how much money you would get back. And the $10 is where that minimum is because this Scotia card or whichever card you go with, there's going to be an annual fee. Okay. And yes, you could cancel the card after X amount of months so that you don't have to pay the annual fee because they waive it for the first year. But if single year, what amount do you need to be able to get back in your pocket to cover that annual fee? Okay. So based on this, your minimum rent would need to be $450 so that you could profit or make that $120 so that your annual fee for this card, it doesn't cost you anything to have this card. And so then anything above it in terms of cash back from your other bills would just be gravy in your pocket. Okay, so that's where this 450 is. So if you're paying even $1,000 in rent, well, we already know that at $450 a month in rent, it already makes sense. So if you're paying $1,000, if you're paying $2,000, it does make sense for you to take a look at potentially utilizing the strategy so that you can make money back every single month. Okay, in this case, you're making $22.50 a month. Okay, is that a lot of money? No, but in the course of the year, it's $250. Okay, and if you watch some of my other videos, $270 can go back into your TFSA. You can leverage this and use the rule of 72 and grow this to $1 million. Like just okay, so that is what I've got for you today. Okay, so my name is Hung Lu. I hope you found this session fun. Whew, like I did, and give me a thumbs up or whatever platform you're following me on. Please subscribe. Give me your thumbs up. Give me some comments. Let me know if this information is valuable, how you're using it. Okay, and one of the things that I took away from the Flirting with Life networking event that I went to today, or sorry, over the weekend, was to like say, okay, how are you going to take this information and how will you utilize it to continue to flirt with the life that you have? Okay, thanks everybody and have a wonderful week.